Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Shadow variant of Poliwrath, but with a Mudshot in the Open Ultra League, and why this Pokemon might actually be better than Counter. Well, we're going to encounter in the first matchup already one of the matchups that's way worse. I got this team here from Jason, who got up to, I think, 3,400 something MMR with this team, which is kind of wild, so definitely a top meta team here as well. And we're going to have a team with the Shadow Skunking as mainly the Say-Swap, which is going to try to bait out something like the Swampert here. We can actually take the Hydro Cannon from the opponent as well, as they can reach out for the Trailblaze for the first matchup and gonna get the big boom to knock out here the opponent's Swampert, which is going to be amazing for us as the opponent swaps out into a Deoxys, but they don't even go for a charge move, allowing us to reach another charge move here as well. Crunch is going to get the nearly knockout actually, as the opponent let this move go through and gonna get the defense drop, and we have in the back the Lantern. It's a triple XL team, so it's not really as easily accessible for a lot of people. Definitely keep this in mind, but still, they're going to have here an interesting matchup, and we're going to talk a little bit about why Mudshot might still be a little bit better than Counter, at least in certain matchups. I guess like in neutral matchups, Counter might be a little bit better because it's a stab move doing a lot of damage, but the cool thing about Mudshot is you're going to generate energy way faster, and especially in the lead, this is going to come in clutch quite a bit. Why is this the case? Because currently in the Open Ultra League, most leads are either the Sandslash, which Counter would be better, but you still win easily with Mudshot, or it would be the Dragonite. And Dragonite is going to have a tougher time here against the Mudshot variant, because you're gonna get to the Icy Wind way faster. Here we're going to be able to win the first game, even though, yeah, we didn't have Counter for the Alabama Snow. But in the next matchup, we're already going to see the Dragonite in the lead, and here we're going to see why Mudshot might be a little bit cooler for this kind of matchup, because now we're going to outspeed the opponent all of a sudden. Like otherwise the opponent would have always been able to outspeed us. Here we're going to stay in for a little bit too long, most likely. I swap out into my Skunk Tank, and as the opponent farms up a very much, like very high here in terms of the energy, I'm going to use a shield, and they're actually running Zap Cannon, which was then a great shield for me to go for. But again, like Icy Wind going to be better against especially the Dragonite, but you can also win now against the Trevenant. You have a little bit more play against the Annihilape, you're going to have a little bit more play against the Tentacruel, you're going to have more play against the Jellicent, you're going to have more play against the Giratina. There are a lot of different options that you can basically go for, or like where you're going to have a better matchup with the Mudshot variant. Would I say that's in general better? I'm not too sure. I think in the lead, definitely the Mudshot variant has a more play, or like has at least like very similar play or whatever, but I would say like in the back I would still prefer Counter, just in order to counter down some certain Pokemon, like something like a Greedent or whatever could be a little bit tricky. Here we were actually able to still store up another Icy Wind, which might come in clutch later on as well. You're just gonna get to an Icy Wind after 5 fast moves, which is like so overpowered with the current kind of meta how it's going to be, because like Icy Wind is king. You see it already as well for like the Great League variant of this Pokemon. Like Icy Wind going to help this Pokemon out so much. And here, we were even able to debuff the opponent's Jellicent, allowing us to take those moves a little bit easier. We can go ahead and go for a Thunderbolt against the opponent's Dragonite as well, and with this, we're going to be able to get the knockout and win this game. We're also in pretty high elo range as well, which is kind of cool. Another matchup where it's better with Mudshot is going to be Skeledirge, for example. Something that I also didn't really say before, but this is going to be great because we do super effective damage with the fast move, and we're also going to still do super effective damage with the fast move, as we can catch a move from the opponent here. It's going to be the Disarming Voice, and the opponent decides to forfeit immediately. Don't really know why, but we're definitely going to take this one. Is he going to have a matchup again, which is a little bit tricky, because like this, of course, a generally bad matchup for us, but we're going to still going to have a little bit more play against like a Clefable as well, which is kind of cool because you're gonna generate energy a little bit faster. Counter would be resisted, so like you see already, there is a lot of play for Mudshot in this kind of meta. Don't think that it would actually have more play in the Great League though. Like I doubt it. Maybe there is some more play, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, for me, I just want to try it out in general as well, because I have so many elite fast teams, and so I don't really care too much to get rid of the elite move there, basically, as I can just get it back anyway. Like, elite fast teams are barely used in general. Like, you have, what, the Thundershock variant of the Zapdos needs one. You have the Volt Switch variant, I think, from Charger Bug, which needs one, and that's basically all the Pokemon that really needs the fast move, I think, there. But yeah, so it is kind of safe to go for. Here we're going to generate energy a little bit faster, allowing us to get to the move a little bit easier as well. And so we can get the knockout against the opponent. As I swap out into the Clefable, we were able to catch a move, which is really cool here. But Moonblast is coming through, is going to get onto our Skunking here, the opponent can still go for another charge move. It's going to be another Media Mesh. We're going to still have a little bit of a tough time, but maybe we can still come back from this. We're gonna find out shortly, as he can go for another charge move. It's going to be the Scald, and I can try to go for an Icy Wind now, which is going to be able to get the knockout. And honestly, I most likely misplay this matchup that's coming in now, because it's going to be a Skeledirge, and maybe if I went for the Icy Wind here instead of the Scald and get the debuff, maybe this would have been like the play to go for, but I'm not too sure. The opponent actually gets the debuff, so it does not really matter anyway, but still, they're going to be able to knock me out with a disarming voice. So still a close game for losing the lead completely hard there. Speaking of losing the lead, again we're going to have a little bit more of a neutral matchup because we have Mudshot over Counter. And so basically nearly every game so far can showcase matchups where Counter would be worse for us, which is kind of funny. We don't get the debuff, which is kind of annoying, but what we can do is we can catch the move onto our Skuntank, which is amazing. Psycho Boost coming in, going to be double resisted, and they swap out into the Mandibuzz. Something that I don't really like to see too much here. But what I'm going to try to do in this scenario is I try to go for one crunch, get the defense drop, and now I just try to overfarm by quite a bit. I should be able to survive 2 aerial aces from the opponent, so the opponent is going to go for the second one now as well. I could decide to either go for my own charge move next and try to swap out then, but I decided to just try to get as much energy as possible because we know already there is going to be a Deoxys lurking in the back, so it's kind of nice to have the energy. And so I try to go up to 2 crunches, which I'm going to be able to do. Now I can catch the move onto my Lantern, and with this I should be able to go for the full farm down against the opponent as well here. They can still go for another charge move, but we have a ton of energy now on both of our Lantern as well as of our like Skuntank here, which is going to be amazing. I think we even have some energy still on my Poliwrath as well, so we're going to be in a very decent spot. The opponent decides to use a shield here already, which is also totally okay for me. Like, I definitely gonna take this one. They're gonna go for a Thunderbolt, which is totally fine for me as well. I can just go ahead and go for another Thunderbolt afterwards as well. And the opponent is going to be in a spot where they have to go for a charge move now, which is going to be their Psycho Boost. And they're going to swap out afterwards. And now we have Crunch, which has a 30% chance to debuff the opponent's defense. And we have the Icy Wind / Scald, I guess Scald 50%, Icy Wind 100% chance to drop the opponent's attack here. We're going to get the attack drop, which is kind of nice. And I am going to just use a shield here just in case. Not too sure if this was the right call, but I decided to swap out now, go for the Crunch here. Crunch is going to be able to do some neutral damage against the opponent, which they're going to shield up first. We're going to get the defense drop as well here. And so this is going to do some massive damage against the opponent. Not going to get the knockout, but 2 defense drops are kind of lucky. I don't think it really matters. Like, honestly, like, I think a Scald would have been enough no matter what. So, like, I don't think it was really something that was mattering here, but we can still farm them down with Mudshot and win this game. Next opponent, again, a prime example where Mudshot is going to be better because he can get to the Icy Winds after 5 fast moves. The opponent needs basically as long to get to their first charge move as I need to get to 6 fast moves of my own. So basically here we're always going to outspeed them by 2 turns. And this is going to be very good for us because here the Dragonclaw is coming through. They can just go for the Icy Wind. The opponent swaps out into their own Poliwrath, which I'm totally okay with because I can stay in for a little bit. I can go up to another Icy Wind for later on, and I can swap out now into my Lantern, trying to get as much energy as possible. Because I know they're going to run Ice and Water type moves, so like Water type Pokemon in general, going to be fine against those as we can just resist all of those attacks. And so we're gonna be able to just let this next move go through as well. It's going to be another Scald. They're gonna get 2 attack drops, which is really unfortunate, by the way. Really kind of hurts us here in this case because, yeah, now we are forced to go for a Thunderbolt, but also our Thunderbolt now is not going to do any damage. And if we didn't get like the double debuff, this would have been like so much better because we would have put them into farm down range for even the Skuntank later on. But I can go for a charge move here. Icy Wind is coming through. They're going to decide to use a shield. Can I still reach another one? It's going to be close. The opponent swaps out into a Talonflame, which is a smart decision. And so we're gonna get the attack drop here, which is kind of nice. I most likely should have went into my Lantern here. I think I would have been able to reach a move in time, but I decided to go against this basically and go into my Skuntank. And with this, I can just go ahead and, yeah, let this move go through. It's going to be a Flame Charge, and I was like thinking, okay, I can just overfarm by quite a bit, go for a Crunch here. Crunch is going to get the knockout against them, and I still have a shield against the Dragonite. This should be kind of fine here, right? I should be able to just go ahead and get off some more damage. Again, if we just get 1 less debuff onto our Lantern, we would have already knocked out the opponent. But it doesn't really matter because I can just go for another Dragonclaw here and was like, can I still reach a serve? I should be able to, right? They got back-to-back Dragonclaws here, which was absolutely wild. Dragonite going to completely destroy me here. Kinda unlucky, could have won this game, but let's move on to the next one. Next opponent, we're going to have the Talonflame against us here in the lead, which is going to be a fine matchup as well. Both of our fast moves would be resisted here, but Scald is going to come out a little bit faster with my one fast move there. They're going to most likely go for a fly, so I decided to swap out. It's going to be the fly, and I can now farm them down with any kind of Pokemon. They decide to swap out into their Poliwrath, and I can even reach the Trailblaze in time, forcing them to use a shield most likely. But they don't even do this, and so I can even get way more damage onto them. I can swap back into my Lantern now. Lantern is going to enjoy this matchup quite a bit, as this is going to be all resisted. Scald damage coming through again. We don't get the debuff even, which is going to be amazing. So we have to see what they're going to run in the back now. We're in a great spot at this point. Let's see what they have there. It's going to be an Annihilape, which is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, I have to say, as we can now go for one charge move here. Going to be the Thunderbolt. I decide to swap out, and I can go for the Scald here, which is going to get around like 60% damage, I think, against the opponent, which is going to be great. But the opponent decides to use a shield, but we're going to get the attack drop against them, which is going to be amazing for us, as we can now decide to let this move go through, and it's going to be actually a close combat, something that I did not expect it. And so this is going to be a little bit more of a trickier matchup. And I don't really want them to catch my move, so I decided to just use a shield here. I decided to go for the full farm and not go for the Surf immediately, and so I can now go for the Thunderbolt immediately, and this should be it for this game. Still kinda close because the opponent's Annihilape actually did some great job there, but let's move on to the next battle. A little bit of a horrific lead, I would say. Like, this is not really great for us, but we can go for a Scald and try to go for a debuff here. 50% chance. Let's see if we're gonna get the debuff. We still have the fast move damage, which is going to be super effective now, which is kind of nice. We don't get the debuff. Let's see if the opponent gets the debuff here. Scald coming through. It's also not gonna get the debuff, and so we can go for another Scald. We're just gonna go back and forth here. Let's see what we can do here. The Scald is coming through. It's going to not get a debuff again, which is absolutely wild. And at this point, I was like, yeah, okay. I'm just going to let this move go through. It's going to be another Scald, and we can go for the full farm down with our Lantern. Like, in hindsight, I would have most likely swapped out a little bit earlier. I would have swapped out into my Skeledirge, which would get to the charge move a little bit faster than basically the opponent's Tentacruel. But in the back, there's going to be even the worst possible Pokemon to encounter, which is going to be that Swampert, and basically, it's impossible to win this game at this point, right? Like, there's not a lot that I can do about it. Surf is going to chunk a little bit, but, like, honestly, like, they can still just go for any kind of charge move here. It does not really matter. Like, it's going to be the Hydrokin as well. Great bait by them. But I'm kind of forced to even go for a Trailblaze now. But there's nothing that I can do. I'm like 2 shields down there. He went for another bait as well, which is annoying. I can go for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is coming through. Is going to be able to get attack buff onto me. But as you're going to see here, we actually can farm them all the way down. And with this, the tables kind of turned, as you're going to have the Mandibuzz against us now. And this is going to be fine because we have a buffed attack. We're going to be able to go for the crunch. We are not going to get the defense drop, which is totally okay though. But we're going to do a ton of damage, and we can soak up at least 2 aerial aces before they get me into farm down range. And so I just decided to go straight for another crunch, and from basically an unwinnable game, we're coming back into a game that is definitely winnable for us. As you're gonna see here next, it's going to be another aerial ace coming through. I can swap out into my Lantern, and they decide to go ahead and go for a next charge move as well, but I think I put them into farm down range with this, and let's see what the opponent is going to do here. They decide to give up, and so we can move on to the last game for today. This is a matchup where it's kind of both. Like, it's going to benefit us because it can go for a Scald a little bit earlier, but it's going to be a little bit more tricky because the counter damage is missing, so one Scald is not going to be enough. The opponent goes here for the Psychic Fangs, which is going to guarantee a drop us our defense, but we can get the attack drop as well, which is kind of lucky here, so we can even reach another Scald in time. This is going to be able to connect and gonna do a ton of damage, but we still have to reach another Icy Wind, and with this we're forced to use a shield against the opponent. It is going to be another Psychic Fangs coming through, but I can go for the Icy Wind, and this should be enough to knock them out. Let's see what the opponent is going to decide to do here. They decide to let this move go through, and they're gonna go back into their own Poliwrath. I decide to swap out into my Skeledirge. I should be able to win this in the Zero Shield scenario, so I can just go for my charge move now, but it's going to be a tough battle to win. Let's see if we can still do this. The attack buff is coming in here. I can still use a shield. They're gonna get the attack drop immediately, which is kind of hilarious to be fair, but they're gonna catch a crunch onto their Giratina. This is something that I have not seen before, and it's definitely not the right move, as they're gonna get the defense drop as well, but they're gonna overfarm by quite a bit. And with this, I know that I'm not going to be able to reach an Icy Wind with my Poliwrath after swapping in here, because they need like 3 more fast moves to get to the move, but they decided not to even go for a charge move, which was a little bit tricky, because now I am up against the Giratina Giratina with my Lantern. Lantern's only going to have resisted damage, but at least they're going to be debuffed in terms of the defense thanks to the crunch. And so we're gonna put them kinda into farm down range now, which is going to be important because we kinda need to put them there as the opponent is going to swap soon most likely into their Poliwrath. They can even go for another Dragon Claw, which is going to be very tricky. And let's see, they're gonna be able to go for a charge move here, and it's going to look really tough for us as they can get the knockout here already. I can still reach the score, but is our health enough to still win the final game? Let's find out here together. It is going to be insanely close. Can we go for the full farm down? We can, and we can win this game. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely a cool team, definitely an interesting idea to go for a Mudshot variant of Poliwrath. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about it, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.